everybody, my name is Jess from Alea Holistic Health. I'm a yoga teacher and a nutritionist from Sydney, Australia, and I'm bringing you this short yin practice for the lower back. So as always with yin, we generally want to be using some nice support so that we can relax into our postures as much as we can. And so behind me I have a cushion, a bolster, and a couple blocks. So use what you feel you need. I love yin at home because you have a lot of different things around the house that you can use, like cushions if you want something really firm and you don't have a bolster. You could also use kind of the couch cushions that are generally a lot more firmer than regular cushions. And we're going to begin in a child's pose. So you can come on down, find a kneeling position, let your knees go as wide as they like to go, and start with the hips heavy toward your heels. Now you might use support here or you might not. So you might like to have your bolster or a cushion underneath your belly and supporting your ribs, or you might like to let yourself come all the way down without anything. And allow yourself to relax wherever you arrive. Your arms don't have to be extending forward. You could support them on top of each other, the forearms stacking and your forehead resting on top. And we're trying to find postures or shapes that we can really relax and breathe into. And because we're focusing on the lower back today, I just want you to let your belly relax. So as you inhale, you should feel the belly move down, kind of toward between the thighs. And notice how the back then starts to fill up with the breath. And exhale. Allow the chest to relax down, the hips to feel heavy toward your heels. And you might keep the belly soft, or maybe you find a little cinch there. And as you inhale, you might just feel the breath move differently into the back. You might try a couple breaths like that. And settle into any breath that feels most helpful for your back, whether that be with the little cinch of the waist or keeping it soft. And can you relax down the shoulders and through the arms? And feeling this lengthening from the sides of the hips all the way up the sides of the body to the arms. And we'll just stay one more breath. And let's lift up throughout all fours. If you've got support beneath you, just shifting that out of the way. Bringing hands under shoulders, knees under hips, and we can move through cat and cow. So as you inhale, lengthening your heart forward, just move super slowly. You'll feel your tailbone lift up. Try not to drop the belly too much, so keep a little support there. Exhale then around the back, so think about the tailbone tucking under. The mid-shoulder blades lifting toward the ceiling and tucking through the chin. Lengthening the back of the neck. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, round. And as we find this slow movement, thinking of this undulation of movement through the vertebra, and focusing on the lower back. We can kind of think of the lower back as this junction between where the spine and the pelvis meet. So the movement through your pelvis has much more bearing on your lower back than it does on your upper back. That's more related to the shoulders. And it's also very much related through the core, and it's very much part of the core. And the next time that you're inhaling, just coming back through your neutral spine. And let's invite some movement side to side. So your hips and your shoulders gently swaying there. There's no right or wrong, just moving in a way that it feels nourishing, that feels interesting, it feels good. And let an in-breath bring you back through the center. And we'll meet on our seat. You can take your legs off to the side and extending your legs forward. And as you arrive, just give your legs a little bit of a shake. Your feet can flop in and out a little bit. So you feel really settled into your hips and into your legs. We're setting up here for Janu Shishasana, or head to knee pose. This is one of my favorite postures, and it's lovely to do in yin as well. So I'm going to bend up my left knee first, left sole of foot into the inner right thigh. And I'm going to use my cushion here just to really support my left knee. Now my left hip isn't as open as my right hip, and so I just like to give it extra support. And we can think of this support as just helping this leg to feel very heavy. So then the muscles around the hip don't have to work and we can relax into them more. And I'll take my blocks either side of my right leg. Now if my blocks are closer toward my hips, I'm going to have more support. And if my blocks are higher, I'm going to have more support again. So just find a nice position there. And you can either rest your hands, and I just want you to start by letting that left hip feel extra heavy. And you might even start already to feel some length in that left side of the lower back, which is where we're targeting. And I've squared my chest over my right leg. So I'm not down the middle, I am going a little bit to the right, and you'll get that nice diagonal, feeling that length through the left side of the back. So you might have your hands on your blocks. Another thing that's really nice to do is to cross your forearms over the blocks and rest your forehead on your forearms. Or if you don't quite get there, your elbows are on the blocks but your palms face toward you, and you can rest there. Now if you're just nowhere near getting to support yourself on blocks, you can place a chair in front of you, so you might even be supported right here, as long as you can relax where you are. Relax the shoulders, the pelvis, the legs. And you can send your breathing into this left side of the back, and you are getting the benefit. You might even find, if you give yourself more height, that you can allow that left sit bone to get very heavy, and you might even feel a nicer release there. So it's not about how far down you go. I get a better stretch through my back when I'm here, rather than when I was just nice and low, or nice and low just there. Focusing on the sensation and the breath, rather than where you are touching or reaching. We're finding depth through breath and sensation, rather than depth through shape. And imagine that your lung was sitting in this left side of the back. And let your attention soften there. And we'll stay here not too much longer. And this can be a nice release to stay for a long time. But we're doing Express Yin today. So really get the most out of these releases by allowing your breathing to really do the work. And feeling the breath and the body become at the central focus of your attention. The more of the nuance you can notice, the more benefit it can give you. your next out breath. Stay, but can you do less? Relax a little bit more. Staying for a deep breath in. And breathing out, softening, letting go. And finding structure through your hands, pressing into your blocks or into the floor. Slowly come up. Give yourself a second, just resting, stacking your shoulders over your hips. And we'll bring the hands just behind us so that you can let your arms kind of act like your spine. All your back muscles soften. And allow the back to settle. And we'll bring this straight into our next release, which is our reclined twist. So I'm going to turn around so that I'm not twisting away from you. This twist is going to be to the right because we're sticking with releasing the left side. So I'm going to keep my cushion with me. You decide how you'd like to set this up, but I'll show you some options. So arms out wide at shoulder height, legs go over to the right. I'm going to place my cushion in between my legs. You could also place it underneath and between if you've got a couple, or if you just don't like to use that, no problem, you don't have to. And I'll rest my right hand on my left knee, so I'm reminding that side that it's nice and heavy through the legs. My left arm's going to reach out wide, and I'm just kind of going to wriggle my shoulder blades a little bit so that they feel very grounded. My left palm is facing the ceiling, and I can look anywhere from the right to the left to the ceiling. As you next breathe out, can you feel the right side of your hip and your right leg just drop a little bit more into the floor? And notice how that creates almost this draping of the left side soft tissues over the bones. And as you breathe in, can you feel the breath opening from the left waist up through the ribs? And as you breathe out, every bone drops down. And then allow your attention to rest in that left side of the lower back. And it might feel like the sensation has wrapped a little bit around that outer side of the waist and the hip. And you might be letting the belly be soft. Notice the journey of the breath with a soft belly. Or you might let the belly gently tone. Notice the journey of the breath with the belly toned. Generally, when the belly is soft, the breath will move more into the lower back. When the belly is toned, the breath will lift more into the ribs. So take what feels most helpful for you today. Wherever your head is touching the floor, if it's the back of your head or more that right back corner or left back corner, can you let it drop down? And as you do that, maybe feeling the muscles around the neck, finding a little bit more softness. Maybe space, especially across the left shoulder. And the next time you breathe out, feel the body drop, doing a little less. And as you breathe in, feeling the breath moving through the body, opening. And exhale, do even less as you breathe out. On an in-breath, and as slowly as you can, you might just shift your supports out of the way. You'll start to lift through the center and make your way onto your back, extending your arms, extending your legs, and allow that to relax and settle. And notice what you feel along this left side of the body. Maybe your limbs feel longer, mine certainly do. Notice the quality around the left side of the lower back. You might feel like you can feel into it a little more than the right side. Not that it's more tender, but the awareness there just might feel like it's been heightened. Notice the breath between sides. Maybe the left side feels like it can welcome the breath in a little deeper. And beginning to bend your knees. Draw your knees into your chest, just rocking here side to side. And as you rock, notice how things feel between sides. And we can roll all the way off to one side. Support yourself to come up, and let's take our Janushirshasana on the right side now. So your right knee will bend, right foot into your inner left thigh. And even though my right hip is more open than my left, I just like to give myself lots of support. I find I get more out of the releases the more supported that I am. But this is your practice, so do what feels right for you. The blocks can come down, and we're keeping that right hip heavy. The chest turns so that we're lined up with that left knee, and we can fold forward. Hands could be on floor or blocks. You could grab a chair and be up higher. You might like to support your head. And take your time to set up. Let yourself be as relaxed as you possibly can be. And start to feel that contact of your right sitting bone into the floor. And notice that as that starts to get heavy, the right side of your lower back starts to feel longer. And notice that the breath starts to move there. And you relax around your shoulders and your neck. And as we stay in the shape, these long supported holds, they create something that is literally called creep. And this is this slow adaptation of the connective tissue to this type of loading, where it's slowly stretched, and it adapts. Becomes more hydrated. Helping the muscles and the other tissues to glide. And we stimulate some nerves in the tissue. And it's almost like we turn up the intelligence through this tissue system. And can you relax a little bit more where you are? And let the supports that are beneath you hold you more in the shape. sense of unraveling. And you might notice between sides here might feel different. It's very, very common for this muscle to be not balanced between right and left. So a good thing to be aware of. And with your next out breath, relax more into it. Body dropping into support, bones heavy. And as you maintain that relaxation, inhaling, and allow that expansion of the breath even more. Exhale, relaxing again into that breath. And you can use your hands, pressing into blocks of floor. Your arms will help to lift you up. And just give yourself a second. And your hands will come behind you. And you can fully relax the back as your arms become your spine. Take a breath. And we'll set up for that twist. This time the legs are going to the left, so we'll be releasing the right side. So I'll spin around again here. And you might use a prop in between the legs, beneath the legs, maybe both. So legs are going to the left, right leg's on top, right arm can reach out wide, and your right palm faces the ceiling. And just kind of shimmy on the floor to really feel grounded through your base, because we need to be grounded in the base to lengthen, whereas opening most effectively. So feel your right shoulder blade heavy into the floor. Wherever you're looking, allow your head to rest down. And as you next exhale, I want you to let that left side of the pelvis almost feel it's creating an imprint in your mat. And notice how that helps to invite some more length through the right side of the lower back. Every time you inhale, where does the breath move? Along the right side, from the hip all the way up into the arm. And we want to try to send the breath where we feel we need it. And for you, that might be the lower back. Every out breath, the bones become heavier. And notice that as the hips become more grounded, the right side of the lower back can lengthen. As you next breathe out, and you relax just that little bit more through the breath. Inhaling, observing that terrain of the breath expand. And exhale, again soften even more. And slowly bringing yourself back through the middle. You might move any props that are there. And extending your legs forward and releasing your arms. And notice how you feel in the body. Notice the lower back. And maybe things feel a bit more even, balanced between sides there. Through the limbs, through the breath. And we can bend up the knees, drawing your knees toward your chest. Give yourself a nice rock side to side so you're massaging into your lower back. And we're going to set up for our Shavasana. So I'm going to use my pillow behind my head here, and I'll place my bolster behind the backs of my thighs. And this is just going to help the bolster to settle the lower back. Taking as many movements as you feel you need to really feel settled. And you might pick up your arms, reach them forward toward your feet so your shoulders move away from your ears and let them settle down. So you're really finding space from the neck down the arms. And tune into what you feel in the palms of your hands, in the soles of your feet. Feeling soft through the jaw and around your mouth. And notice the breath in the belly. And perhaps a sense of ease in the lower back. Every out breath, feeling that connection of bones to earth. And if you'd like to stay longer, please stay as long as you can, as long as you'd like. Otherwise, deepening your breath, returning some movement to fingers and toes, hands and feet, wrists and ankles. And bending your knees, drawing them toward your chest, maybe a few rocks before you roll off to the side. And bring yourself up to a comfortable seat. You might keep your eyes closed throughout that transition. And as you arrive, hands coming to rest in front of your heart. Feeling into the body and the lower back. Namaste.